When did Dodgers Stadium turn into Coors Field? The Rockies and Dodgers couldn't stop scoring runs. The Yankees sweep the Royals, and two of Jackson Holliday's 7 career home runs are grand slams. We've got your look around the league with the local experts of Locked On. This is Locked On MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Thank you for being here for this edition of Locked On MLB Game Night, where it's your team every day and it's everybody's team every night here on Locked On MLB Game Night. After the last out of the last game, we're live and having so much fun. I'm John Frisch. I'm one half of the Super Halo Bros and Locked On Angels. That's my co-host, Jake Riepma, covering Detroit sports, covering Dallas sports, and doing the postcast for Locked On Tigers. Hey, coming up on today's show, things get a little testy between the Pirates and the Nationals. The Padres stand alone with MLB's best record. Cal Raleigh lifts the Mariners over the Reds with a 2-homer day. Before we get into everything, let's thank our friends over at Game Time. If you're interested in getting tickets to your favorite team, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Jake, busy day around baseball. We got a full slate of games. It's time to get into it. You want to start us out with Guardians versus Royals, a 9-1 Orioles victory in this one.
Yeah, buckle up, my friends. Always happy to be on with you, John, my friend, and everybody tuning in. Hit us up in the live chat. But away we go. Shout out to Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. He's in that live chat. But away we go with Orioles and Guardians. You mentioned it in the open, John. How about Jackson Holliday? The long ball, he's got a knack for hitting grand slams. He hits one in the second inning of this one. It's his second career grand slam. And this was his first game since Sunday after having gone 0 for 17 over his last 5 games. So good to get the monkey off his back here and get the Orioles in the win column. I know we're going to hear from some local experts. How about Justin from the Guardian side of things? Hopefully not too bummed out about this one.
Yeah, especially getting beat 9-1 and not a great start from Gavin Williams. Let's hear from Justin right now.
The day after taking care of business against an Orioles team that was struggling, the Guardians are on the business end of an ugly loss to the Orioles in Game 2 of the series. Justin Latta of Locked On Guardians. Everyone's going to want to focus on the ugly ending. Tristan McKenzie's rough outing, a couple of injuries in the 9th inning there, the 8th inning. You can listen for more of that on Locked On Guardians, but the real thing here is the Guardians had more hits than the Orioles. They had more scoring opportunities than the Orioles. The Orioles were 2 for 4th runners in scoring position. The Guardians had more opportunities. They just didn't get hits when it mattered. They've got a couple guys in the lineup. Gavlaris hit a home run. He's been good lately. But they just don't have enough guys who are getting the hits when it matters. They've got guys in long slumps. Kyle Manzardo only got a hit because of a drop pop fly. Nolan Jones can only work a walk right now. They just need to find guys who are getting hits at the right time. They don't have that right now, not consistently at least. So tune into Locked On Guardians for more of that, more on Tristan McKenzie, and more of why Gavin Williams can't seem to dominate right now.
Tristan McKenzie has just been relegated to the mop-up role for the Guardians, not something that you would have expected a few years ago because that guy was a stud, and just it seems like the injuries have caught up and bit him. Now, again, not the start you want out of Gavin Williams, 6 2/3, 5 earned runs. He gave up the 2 home runs, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts from Gavin Williams. You know that it's that how that song goes. RISPECT. Find out what it means to me. No, it's runners in scoring position. That's what Aretha Franklin was singing about there, Jake. So if you can't deliver with runners on, you're going to lose games like this. Hey, take us over to the best record in baseball, Padres versus the Cubs. They cemented their standing at the top of MLB, didn't they, Jake?
Yeah, no doubt about that, John. How about the prowess that the San Diego Padres have shown in this early portion of the season? An MLB best 15-4, and they just cannot lose at home. really impressive. Just the one loss to the Cubs, but they still take 2 out of 3 from the Chicago Cubs, who, make no mistake about it, are a tough team at the top of that NL Central. And the star power alive and well. How about Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado? They each drove in 2 runs. And you go up and down that Padres lineup, and there are a lot of different guys that can beat you. The depth on full display, and they get some pitching here this afternoon again and take care of business. The Padres looking like a scary bunch right now.
Absolutely. And the Cubs are no slouch either. In fact, let's jump over to Locked On Cubs host Sam. He's got the breakdown from the Cubs side of things.
A sloppy 4-2 defeat for the Chicago Cubs to lose their first series in quite a while at the hands of the San Diego Padres today. I'm Sam Ober from Locked On Cubs, and this was just a bad series overall for the Cubs. A phenomenally successful road trip. 3-3 doesn't sound great, but when you consider they had to go to LA to face the Dodgers and to San Diego to face the Padres, you'll take 3-3 all day. But the Cubs played bad baseball in San Diego, and it continued on Wednesday. Bad defense, bullpen guys walking the stadium, no offense. It was a quiet series for Kyle Tucker, and nobody was really able to pick him up. Really rough series for Dansby Swanson. And when you don't have great relief pitching, you don't play great defense, you don't hit, you're lucky to win one against a really good team, and the Cubs were able to do that. So time to come back home, use the day off, get back to playing some good baseball this weekend against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Good stuff from Sam right there. Hey, shout out to my guy in the comments. Dylan said, no matter what, I'm a diehard Angels fan. I salute you, Dylan. Thank you for being here with us as part of the night shift, as we like to call our tuner-inners, our everydayers who tune in to MLB Game Night. Love to see that enthusiasm in the comments. Hey, let's take it over to Nationals versus Pirates, where things got a little testy, Jake. It was a 6-1 Pirates victory. Now, the bench is cleared in the 7th inning after a pitch by Jorge Lopez buzzed by Andrew McCutchen's head. Lopez, who had hit Brian Reynolds earlier, was ejected from this game, and suspicion is this all has to do with Paul DeJong getting a broken nose from a hit by pitch a day earlier. So seemed like things were a little testy there. Fortunately, nothing too crazy happened, but it was a 6-1 Pirates victory thanks to an O'Neal Cruz grand slam, his first career grand slam. Great to see from O'Neal Cruz. From the Pirates side of things, we're going to go to Gary and see what he has to say and see what he's got in store for us in terms of this little scrap that happened. Let's take a look at what Gary has to say.
Pirates secure a series split at least here with the Washington Nationals at PNC Park. Hi, I'm Gary from Locked On Pirates. Cold night again. Bailey Falter really shoved 7 innings, faced the minimum. Beautiful performance by him. The bats stalled early on and then kind of caught fire as the game took off. At one point, Jorge Lopez threw a pitch that the umpires determined to be at Andrew McCutchen, and purposefully, because they tossed him from the game. And when they brought in his replacement, Eduardo Salazar, he was greeted with a 2-pitch walk because, well, you come in the middle of an at-bat. That's a difficult situation to begin with. And then O'Neal Cruz just stepped up and took a slider that kind of hung a little too much and drilled it over the Clemente wall for a grand slam. That really iced the game. And Henry Davis had a really nice performance today, too. Hit a home run right down the left field line, actually hit off the foul pole. Good to see from the young man, especially since he's had to step up and play here a little bit more.
Good stuff from Gary right there. Jake, take us over to Yankees Royals, where the Yankees complete the sweep of the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, listen, John, star power might be part of the theme of tonight's episode because it was Aaron Judge finding the seats for the first time in 10 games. Ooh. A home run in the 7th to break the tie, and the Yankees edge out the Royals 4-3 for that 3-game sweep. Got to give a lot of credit to Cody Bellinger as well, who made a diving catch in right field on a sinking line drive to preserve Fernando Cruz's first career save. But you knew the Yankees were going to be tough, and they have found themselves in the top of the standings in the AL East in the early portion of the season. a lot of star power. As I mentioned, Aaron Judge finding the seats. Chalk it up as one of those Yankee wins that you're counting on the big guns to get it done, and they did.
Absolutely. Yeah. They found different ways to beat the Royals all throughout this series. For more, we're going to go to Brian with Locked On Yankees. Here we go.
Defense being a huge catalyst. Cody Bellinger with a diving catch to end the game for the Yankees. They're going to win their games this year. Low scoring with great bullpen pitching and phenomenal defense. It's exactly what happened in the game against the Kansas City Royals. You get a big home run from Aaron Judge to reclaim his lead for the top of the home run chart in the league this year, plus Clark Schmidt returning and giving the Yankees a really solid start, exactly what they need. He's going to be a catalyst if they continue to win games the rest of this year. A sweep of the Kansas City Royals as they head to their home away from home in George Steinbrenner Field down in Tampa Bay. You can catch our opinions on all of it on Locked On Yankees, Monday through Friday, every single day on all of your streaming platforms and YouTube.
Yeah, the Yankees are going to have some fun down at George Steinbrenner Field because the ball flies around that yard. For the other side of things, we're going to go to Jack with Locked On Royals. Probably not too happy about this sweep. Here we go.
It was a pretty fitting end to the Royals-Yankees series as Cody Bellinger makes a diving play to preserve the lead in the bottom of the ninth, as for the first time this year, Kansas City is swept at the hands of the reigning American League champions. You know, the offense, they probably had their best performance of the series, but I keep going back to they allowed 4 runs in each of the 3 games and yet walked away with no wins. The offense, as I sound like a broken record in saying, just isn't good enough right now. And what we're going to talk about on the podcast coming up here in the next hour or so, probably when it's posted, is the margin of error is so small when it comes to this pitching staff. You know, you would like to see them go out there and take the mound with a 4-run lead or a 5-run lead, but every inning they are climbing the bump, they either have to preserve a 1-run lead or it's a tie game or they're chasing a run or 2. So the games are close, but the offense is just not cutting it. And that's a lot of pressure to put on a rotation that has been very good, but you don't want to take advantage of it because eventually there is going to be some regression with that staff.
Yeah, not always easy when you put your pitchers in a position like that where they have to be perfect with every pitch. Pitch perfect? I'm doing a bunch of alliteration here. It's time for a break, Jake. It's time for a break. So thanks for making Locked On MLB Game Night your late night listen, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. When we return, we'll be talking about the rest of the games across the league, and we'll get into that coming right up. Hey, today's show is brought to you by our friends at PrizePicks. Basketball and hockey playoffs are heating up. They're on the way, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with PrizePicks. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. With PrizePicks, you pick more, you pick less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You're all set. You can even combine players across sports. So if you are watching the NBA playoffs or the NHL playoffs, use your knowledge and combine those players for a chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. And of course, you can take some picks like Luka Doncic for 28 points, more than. Easy pick there. Maybe Jason Tatum for more than 8 rebounds. And for hockey fans, maybe Austin Matthews for more than 5 shots on goal. What I love about PrizePicks is how easy it is to set up your lineup. You can do it in under 60 seconds. They even have Taco Tuesday promos where they discount player projections up to 25% for even more value. Payouts are fast, safe, and secure. So download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Thanks again for being here for Locked On MLB Game Night. Shout out to everybody tuning in and turning on the show. Myself, John Frisch, one half of the Super Halo Bros, and the host of Locked On Angels, and my co-host, partner in crime, Jake Riepma. Jake, why don't you take us? We got to give a little love to the Twins because I screwed up the score on last night's show. So we need to highlight these Twins, not only because I screwed up the score last night and said the Mets won. No, they took 2 out of 3 from the mighty Mets, a 4-3 win for the Twins, right, Jake?
You got that right, John. Ty France singled in the go-ahead winning run in the 10th inning to give the Twins the 4-3 victory. And like you said, the Twins then take the series from the Mets winning 2 of 3. But let's hear from some local experts. We got Brandon with Locked On Twins here to give us a little recap from the Twins' perspective.
Don't call it a comeback. Well, actually, that's exactly what you could call it. Twins win 4-3. Didn't come back in the game, but they're coming back from a rough start. This is Brandon Warren with your Locked On Twins post-game minute. Twins record no longer resembling a Twin Cities area code. They are now 7-12, and while that's not exciting, they have taken 2 of 3 from the Mets, who are now 11-7 and leaving town. Twins stay on the NL East front with a trip to Atlanta. Big highlights in the game: Byron Buxton scoring the winning run as the Manfred man in the 10th inning. And get this, Ty France 0 for his last 12 and 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts coming into his 10th inning plate appearance, and he drives in the run. Baseball is a beautiful game. Again, Twins off on Thursday and in Atlanta starting on Friday. We'll be covering it fully. Locked On Twins.
You love to see something like that where a guy who's just having a rough day ends up putting the winning run across the plate. Hey, how about Giants versus Phillies? It was an 11-4 victory for the Giants. They're 12-5 on the year. And, we talked about the Padres earlier, best record in baseball. The Dodgers walked away with a victory against the Rockies. We'll get to that here in a second. But man, those Giants are off to a hot start. They had Jung-Hoo Lee single, double, and drove in 2 runs in this one. Mike Yastrzemski. We keep talking about Yastrzemski, man. There's something to that guy. Wilmer Flores and Patrick Bailey also drove in a pair of runs for the Giants. Bryce Harper did sneak a home run in there for the Phillies. But again, the Giants 12-5 on the year. Let's go to Eric of the Locked On Giants postcast for more insight from the winning perspective.
Yo, what's up, everyone? Eric Triple E Engel here with the Locked On Giants postcast. And today, man, the Giants offense just absolutely erupted. Tons of walks, tons of hits for the Giants. They put 11 runs on these Phillies. They win this one 11-4, and thus they can now do no worse than split this series at Citizens Bank Park. A great start to this road trip. The Giants have not lost a series on the road this year, and that stretch continues with this win today. Giants had 20 base runners today, and 11 of them came around to score. That's a very solid ratio. But it wasn't without some issues, man. Robbie Ray, a little shaky today, a lot of walks, but also a lot of strikeouts, gave up 4 runs in just 4 innings and threw a ton of pitches to get through those 4 innings of work. We'll break it all down tonight on the Locked On Giants postcast. Hope you'll join us.
I see Eric wearing that new City Connect Giants hat there. That looks pretty good. It's a pretty good looking hat there. Jake, why don't you take us to Reds versus Mariners right now?
Let's do it. Cal Raleigh hit 2 home runs and Bryce Miller pitched 5 sharp innings. That's a recipe for success. Mariners get it done 5-3. Miller's final line, 5 innings, shutout, and just the 3 hits. He struck out 8. And Cal Raleigh getting it done from both sides of the dish. Anytime you have a catcher that's such a threat to go yard with one swing of the bat like Cal Raleigh, that's a nice luxury to have, and the M's get it done. But I think we've got some post-game reaction on this one as well. Let's hear from Jeff, Locked On Reds, recapping this one.
There's just some games that you're going to lose in a 162-game season, and the Reds lost one of those games on Wednesday night. But for me, the question from Wednesday is about Nick Martinez. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And the Reds were they were shut down. I mean, they scored 3 runs in the 7th inning, but quite frankly, anytime it felt like they had something going, they did an unforced error that took it off the board or gave the Mariners another run, all that other stuff. The big thing for me was Nick Martinez, because this is yet another start that he wasn't that great in, and he was getting clobbered on Wednesday night. Seattle bats were just all over everything he was throwing toward the plate. Dylan Moore all over him. Cal Raleigh all over him. Tough night at the ballpark for him. He's had a couple of those now to begin the season. Is his job in jeopardy whenever Rhett Lauder and Wade Miley come back off the injured list? Think it's worth discussing. So we will on the next Locked On Reds.
Good stuff from Jeff right there. And we've got some perspective from the winning side with Ty of Locked On Mariners. Let's listen to what Ty had to say in this big win and a big night for Cal Raleigh.
Very similar start to this game as last night's game. Another fast start for the Mariners in this one, but thankfully this one ended in a way that I much more prefer. This is Ty Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast here. The good guys beat the Reds by a score of 5-3 this evening at Great American Ballpark. Things got a little scary there when the Mariners had a 5-0 lead in the seventh inning with Troy Taylor and then eventually Carlos Vargas on the mound. But they were able to limit the damage to just 3 runs from the Reds. And from that point forward, Gabe Spire and Andres Munoz shut things down in the 8th and 9th innings because that's just what they do. Cal Raleigh hits 2 more home runs in this game, one from the left side, and then later on again from the right side for his 100th career home run and his 7th home run on the season, which puts him, at the time of this recording, firmly in second place all alone in home runs in Major League Baseball, right behind Tyler Soderstrom of the A's, who has 8.
Good stuff from Ty right there. And way to go, Cal Raleigh, your 100th career home run. And again, switch hitting catcher. You love to see it. Jake, take us to Los Angeles, where apparently the elevation is high and they're playing at Coors Field, because this one was a slugfest, wasn't it?
No doubt about it. Back and forth. Snip, snap, snip, snap. You love to see it. The Rockies go up 1-0 in the first. Shohei responds with a bomb. And you know what? Freddie getting in on the action as well. Homer for the lead. Shohei gets another RBI in the first after the Dodgers bat around and get 6 in the bottom half of the first. You thought maybe that would be curtains for the Rockies. On the third, a grand slam for Michael Toglia of the Rockies, and look out because Bobby Miller in his first start, 3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. This game was drunk. It was all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of that flowing in the stands, I'm sure, and on the field as well. Man, I got to give it up to the Rockies. I know they broke their scoreless streak in that first game, but then they had some fight in game 2, and then in this one, in game 3, but they could just not stay ahead of the mighty, mighty Dodgers. So the Dodgers pick up some momentum after, kind of stalling out in DC. They come home and they get themselves a series sweep of the Rockies. So again, 8-7 for the Dodgers in this one. And, showed some fight from the Colorado perspective, but it just wasn't quite enough to get them at least one win here in this series. So unfortunate for them. Hey, when we continue our conversation and look around the league, we'll get into the rest of the games, including Vladdy Jr. hits his first home run of the season. How did I miss that? It was his first home run. Well, we'll talk about that and much, much more coming right up. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. There's nothing better than catching a game live, especially when you're at the ball field. I'm taking my buddy who's a Giants fan to Angels Giants on Saturday, and I'm going to use Game Time because as the game gets closer, ticket prices, they come down and down and down. So if you're looking for last minute tickets, Game Time makes it easier than ever with last minute deals, all in pricing, and the lowest price guarantee. They take the stress out of buying tickets to your favorite baseball team. Plus, like I mentioned, as Game Time gets closer, you can get an incredible deal because prices drop on those tickets. With Game Time, they have their Game Time Picks feature. It makes finding the best deals effortless, filters out the fluff, and highlights the top discounts around the stadium. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, Jake, it's time to do a little rapid fire. Why don't you get us started with the Blue Jays versus the Braves? The poor Braves can't buy a win right now.
Let's do it. I might break my rule of coming to dramatic conclusions in the first month of the season, but maybe the Braves just stink. Vladdy Jr. hits his first home run of the season. He drives in 2, and Chris Bassitt now 2-0 on the season. He struck out a season high 10 because, again, maybe the Braves just stink. If you take nothing else from this episode, maybe the Braves just stink. I'm sure we can replay this back in a couple of months, and we'll say that Riepma character told me the Braves stink, and they're good. But right now, the Braves stink. So if you take nothing else, it's that the Braves stink. Did I mention I think the Braves stink in this one? 3-1 the final. The Braves are 5-13 because they stink.
5-13. What a rough start to the year for the Braves. Let's take it over to Diamondbacks versus Marlins. It was a 6-2 victory for the D-backs. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. hits a 2-run homer, and the Arizona Diamondbacks pour it on because they went deep 4 times in this one to beat the Miami Marlins 6-2 for their 4th straight victory. On the other side of things, we have Jeremiah Geiger from Locked On Marlins giving his perspective on what happened to his team in this one.
I'm ready to give him a hug.
The Marlins keep giving up home runs. What's up, guys? It's Jeremiah Geiger from Locked On Marlins. And Max Meyer got the start. It was a quality start. 6 innings. He struck out 8, which tied a career high, all with the slider. It's an elite pitch. But he gave up 2 home runs. And that put the Diamondbacks in ahead. They were up 3-1. And then Tyler Phillips came in, gave up 2 more home runs, which put the game out of reach. The Marlins bats just couldn't get in a rhythm tonight. It's a slow process. It's a slow game to watch if you're a fan. The Marlins just very sluggish offensively. They got to get back in a groove like we saw last weekend, and now they're in danger of getting swept. You have to take the final game of the series tomorrow. Right now you're under 500 at 8-9. Let's get back in the win column, flush this one, put it behind us.
Hey, shout out to Nam Nose in the comments. Thanks for being here and cheering on your favorite team in the Dodgers. Had that close victory tonight. Well done, my friend. But yeah, Max Meyer's a name that you want to keep your eye on, even though he did give up those 2 home runs. He's going to be one of those Marlins pitchers that everybody's going to be in on at some point, whether it's the offseason or the trade deadline. Let me talk about my my Halos, Jake. It was a 3-1 loss to the Texas Rangers, battling it out for first place in the AL West, and the Rangers take another game against the Angels. The Halos made Patrick Corbin look like a stud. The Halos have a funny way of doing that when it comes to bad pitchers. Oh, there you go. Your little ice cream sundae hat. I love it. And you don't got to put that in my face, Jake. Come on now. Now, Patrick Corbin has given up the most runs and hits by any starter since 2012. And that's just not because of longevity. That's because he's been that bad since 2012. But Jake Berger had a 3-for-4 night with an RBI and a run scored. A nice little Big Mac for Jake Berger right there. And then Corey Seager, a 2 RBI single. Listen to the slash line for Corey Seager so far this year. 288 average, 344 on base, 458 slugging, and an 801 OPS for Corey Seager. So again, the 2023 World Series champions off to a good start after slumping against the Mariners right before this series. The Angels are helping the Rangers get back in business here, Jake.
Yeah, John, you could make the case that the Rangers have not played up to their potential,
right?
Really, for a large part of the entire season, and they're still tied for the Yankees with the most wins in the American League. This is a scary roster on paper. People around here are excited about the Texas Rangers. The pitching staff has been good. The bullpen has gone 9 2/3 consecutively without giving up a run. And so when you add the combination of quality starting pitching with a really good bullpen and that scary lineup for the Rangers, you're going to win a lot of baseball games, even when you're not playing your best, which is what we've seen from the Texas Rangers. You could say we are all in for the Texas Rangers. I think that's their hashtag or something. We'll go with that, though.
Well,
all in for Texas. There you go.
AEW is bringing their all-in event to Globe Life Park or Globe Life Field in July, I believe. So you get a little wrestling in Arlington there.
There you go.
And the event is called All In. So there you go. Hey, let's take it over to Red Sox versus Rays, who, poured the offense on each other in this series. But then today, 1-0 Red Sox. All it took was a David Hamilton home run, his first of the season. Sean Newcomb went 4 2/3, and the bullpen took it the rest of the way. Sean Newcomb, a former Halo first-round pick by the way, who ended up with the Braves for Andrelton Simmons. So let's go to Gabby for a reaction on the Red Sox side of things. Here we go.
Let's hear it.
Sean Newcomb's performance for the Red Sox tonight was truly unforgettable. I'm Gabby from Locked On Red Sox, and what a game and what an effort by the Boston Red Sox to pull off a series win here. The first game of that series against Tampa Bay looked pretty bleak, but they came back and won the last two, and Sean Newcomb was the biggest takeaway from tonight's game as he pitched into the fifth inning, giving up 0 runs, had a lot more swing and miss stuff in this outing, was executing his pitches a lot better than what we've seen from him in his first few starts with the Boston Red Sox. Really liked a lot of what I saw from him, and then the bullpen completely backed him up, pitching 4 1/3 scoreless innings behind him. Great win for the Red Sox. Make sure to tune in to Locked On Red Sox for more deep dive analysis on tonight's game and the rest of the series.
We will do exactly that. Let's keep this moving, baby, because we got more games to get into. And it looks like up next, we've got the Astros taken down, or losing rather, to the Cardinals 4-1. Cardinals get the victory in this one. You know, we're going to hear from JD from Locked On Cardinals. Let's do it.
Here we go. A big night for the Cardinals. Let's take it over to JD.
The St. Louis Cardinals get a big fly from Lars Nootbaar to take down the Astros at Busch. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals. And after getting blanked by the Stros on Tuesday, the offense started off slow again on Wednesday. But a bunt single by Victor Scott II and a base hit by Thomas J.C. set up first and third for Lars Nootbaar, who smoked a hanging breaking ball out to dead center. 108.4 miles per hour off the bat to give the Cardinals a lead that they would never relinquish. Steven Matz made his first start of the year as the Cardinals moved to that 6-man rotation for the next couple of weeks. He fires 5 scoreless innings. He punches out 5 to get his first win of the season. Brendan Donovan extends his hitting streak to 12 in a row. He's leading the NL in batting average. Cards wrap up the homestand at 4-2. They get back to the 500 mark before heading off to New York City to face the Mets. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
We will do just that. I want him to narrate my life. That's
exactly. Exactly.
The baby blue Cardinals shirt he had going on. If you're watching on YouTube, it's working, JD. Just keep doing your thing, man.
Let's take it over to A's versus A's, Jake. 3-1 A's victory. We're going to hear from both sides of the diamond here. Let's start with Todd from Locked On White Sox. Here we go, Todd.
Let's go, Todd.
Good thing is Brooks Baldwin hit a home run, and Jonathan Cannon did not give up any runs. The bad part is Baldwin's defensive gaffe in the 6th helped the Athletics collect all 3 of their runs, and Cannon once again could not provide a lengthy start. Hello, I'm Todd Welter, host of Locked On White Sox. Who knows if we'll ever get to see Baldwin and Chase Mydroth start in the same infield to get a preview of them being the team's long-term shortstop and second baseman. Injuries have forced Baldwin to play the outfield, and he has been showing some promise at the plate. He crushed his second homer of the season in the 3rd to put the Sox up 1-0. However, the bullpen gave back that slim lead in the 6th, and it was in part because Baldwin tried to throw out Tyler Soderstrom at home to prevent the tying run. It's probably better to just throw to the cutoff man because the throw home allowed J.J. Bleday to get into scoring position, and he eventually scored the go-ahead run as the A's beat the Sox 3-1. Cannon did keep the Athletics off the scoreboard through 4 1/3 innings. I even had Locked On A's host Booney messaging me that Cannon looked like a Cy Young contender. However, his pitch count got up early, just like in his 3 other starts.
Nice little tea there from Todd saying, "Hey, Booney was in my DMs talking about how great our starter looked." Let's actually take it over to
gaslighting
Booney.
though. I want to know if Booney was gaslighting or not.
It's
Let's hear from
possible.
Booney.
He's a tricky guy. Let's go to Booney right now.
Wasn't pretty, but guess what? It doesn't have to be. Brooks Baldwin got the Sox on the board in the 3rd with a solo bomb, 1-0 lead. They held it till the 6th. That's when J.J. Bleday said enough of that with a clutch RBI single to tie it. Then came the hit of the game. 2 outs. Gio Urshela splits the gap in right center. Triple, drives in 2. The A's go up 3-1. The bullpen, dicey, but they danced through raindrops until the 9th. Then it was lights out. The Grim Reaper, Mason Miller, strikes out the side. Ball game. Osvaldo Bido was steady, 1 run allowed, and Bleday woke up. 3 hits, a double, RBI, and a ridiculous catch in center that robbed 2 runs. The A's go for the sweep tomorrow, and like I have told you before, the A's are hanging around.
The A's will not go away, Jake. Take us to your team, the Tigers versus the Brewers. The Brewers pick up another win in this one.
Oh, do I have to, John? I'd rather just listen to Booney talk over about his A's. But I guess I'll tell you about my Tigers. They lose 5-1 to the Brewers. Brewers take the series, winning the last 2 games of the series. It's the first series the Tigers have lost since the opener when they were swept by the Dodgers. They had won 4 consecutive series, but same story, different day for the Detroit Tigers. No offense aside from a Spencer Torkelson home run, which, by the way, his career appears to be resurrected, which is the lone good news from this. Riley Green, an all-star last year, won for his last 32. It's been ugly. He leads the MLB in strikeouts as well. On the Brewers side of thing, got to give them a lot of credit. They got to the Tiger starter, Cater Montero, who was called up from Toledo AAA to make a start. Not sure why. Classic example of AJ Hinch being the smartest guy in the room and calling on a spot start from Cater Montero to give the rest of the rotation some rest in April, because everybody knows your starting rotation is so taxed in April. But give a lot of credit to the Brewers. Kristen Yelich with the home run, Rhys Hoskins with a home run, and Sal Frelick with the home run as well. And the Tigers lose it 5-1 to the Brewers. But I want to hear from Chuck, because I know how I feel about my Tigers. Curious how he feels about his Brewers.
Let's go to Chuck right now. Here we go.
Everybody, Chuck Freeman, some instant reaction. The Brewers take 2 of 3 from Detroit. Jose Quintana again, his second terrific start for the Brewers. Went 5 2/3, gave up a home run ball and just 4 hits and 100 pitches. Quintana, man, what a bargain. 1 year, $5 million, and they've already got $5 million out of him in these 2 starts already, and the bullpen finished up. Home runs today. Hoskins for a second day in a row. Yelich had a couple of base hits, including a home run. And Sal Frelick gets on the board with a home run. And the Brewers will have a day off on Thursday. We'll talk more about this game. Look ahead a little bit to the A's and some other storylines of the Milwaukee Brewers. All that coming up a little bit later on tonight when we drop the next episode of Locked On Brewers. Please subscribe.
Busy night around baseball, Jake, but I feel like we knocked it out of the park just like Christian Yelich did in that Brewers game. Jake, any final thoughts before we head out?
Hey, it's been an absolute pleasure, my friend. What a fun race. Locked On MLB Game Night. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Thanks to all the hosts for submitting their instant reactions. And it's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Hey, if you're interested, be sure you support the channel by hitting that subscribe button on YouTube, or listen to us on the audio side wherever you get your podcasts on the Locked On MLB feed. For Jake Riepma, I'm John Frisch, and we're happy to have you along with us. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, and we'll see you back here for more Locked On MLB Game Night tomorrow night.